I can't believe you fucking said that.
You won't believe what.
Holy shit.
Tune in next week to find out what Eric said.
Jesus.
These are great.
Your eyes went red.
Yeah. Motherfucker. I got a gun.
This is the sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Please don't say that anymore.
Not on a school bus.
I'll leave, God damn it.
Well, you can get out of here then. Sometimes I have to move stuff around. I had a guest that said "F you" in a story, and I put it after I asked him a question. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Isaac Abrams Show. I'm your host, Isaac Abrams. Today's very special guest, comedian, writer, actor, and first-time philanthropist, Eric Rocha. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. I love this, man. You're a fucking cute little bear there.
His name's Phil.
Phil
the philanthropist. I'll give you a sticker on the way out.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I got shirts coming. It's just his picture, and it says Phil under it.
Phil the philanthropist. Is he high?
He looks like it.
He looks very high.
Let's say he is.
That looks like a Lee Syatt blue bear.
Oh, that's funny. Maybe I should call him Lee Phil or Philly.
Phil.
Let's tell everybody where they can find you.
Absolutely. EricRochaComedy.com. So just go there. That's got my Twitter. That's got my Instagram. Anything with dates, you'll find all that good stuff on there. So EricRochaComedy.com.
And I'm not sure when this is coming out, but do you have anything to promote? Do you have some dates coming up?
You know what? No, we're good. All that stuff's just EricRochaComedy.com. Nothing big. I might be working with Joey again in December.
Okay.
We're kind of talking about some stuff, so we'll see how that goes, though.
Okay.
So nothing's set in stone, and with Joey, it usually isn't.
It's set in weed gummies, right?
Exactly.
Death Star. Does he make you take
Stars of Death?
Stars of Death.
You know what? I never, ever had to.
Really?
Whereas Lee Syatt would. It was legitimately like he would feed fucking fish to a pelican. That was Stars of Death to Lee Syatt. I was just like,
and he can handle it?
oh, he had no choice.
Wow. Did Lee go with him to Jersey?
No, Lee. When they split, Lee kind of did like a little tour. He wanted to do some traveling and stuff like that. And I mean, those guys that did that podcast for so long, it was a kick in the ass. But Lee, I believe, went to Boston.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's still there, but I talked to him like a week ago, and he's actually going to be doing a little bit of traveling again. So be on the lookout for Lee Syatt. He's going to be doing some good shows too.
Very funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
One of the first comics I ever photographed in Los Angeles when I started hitting the scene.
No kidding.
At the there was that little club on Sunset above the sports bar.
Oh shit.
And I can't remember the name of it.
Is
the
it-
Comedy Dojo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Dojo of Comedy.
It seems like that was like years ago. Like
It was?
pandemic.
Pandemic
Like, you know what
shut
I
it
mean? Though,
down,
like
yeah.
it's like holy shit.
Yeah. I was there 2-3 nights a week. That was the first place to let me shoot, so I started feeling comfortable.
They would get some good comics.
They got great, yeah. I mean, I literally ran into Whitney Cummings there. Like, physically ran into her. Met Ryan Stickler there.
No shit.
Yeah, who's the tinfoil hat guy?
Well, that Eddie Bravo
The other one.
or Sam Tripoli.
Sam Tripoli.
Sam Tripoli.
First time I met him, he was like, "Hey, man, so good to see you." And I wasn't going to let him know. I was like, "Yes, dude, it's been too long."
So it's funny because I used to have a podcast, but I'm always fascinated. What got you into comedy? Because do you like specific comics, or is it just comedy in general that you were a fan of?
I do have a specific type of comedy. I have like in the genres of stand-up, I have my favorites.
Okay.
But what got me into comedy was I moved out here with my band, and we say it's fortunate. The best thing that ever happened to us is that we didn't get a record deal, because we all ended up getting jobs in the film business.
Oh, okay.
So my singer became the head of music videos at Disney. My drummer owns an advertising agency with Kurt Cobain's little brother. Like, we all kind of did okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we had gotten a record deal, we would have done maybe one tour cycle, and now I would be a 42-year-old man trying to chase that one hit that I had when I was 27.
Damn.
So we learned work ethic. What happened to me in 2018 was I missed the travel and performing. I love to perform. I love to be on stage. And I was like, "What? I'm too old to start another band. What can I do to be back on stage?" Oh, I love comedy. My mom's told me I'm funny my whole life. My mom thinks I'm funny. Side story, if you're religious, the name Isaac means gift of laughter.
Really?
Yeah. So my whole life I was like, well, if music doesn't work out, I'll do comedy. So I tried to reverse engineer what all comics have, and at the time it was podcasts.
No shit.
So I partnered up with my guy here, and I bought all this stuff.
And here we are.
Well, slowly. It wasn't all. I didn't go like down to Sears and just fucking swipe the credit card. It was a couple clients paid for that mic and a couple clients paid for that lens, and slowly built it up.
It's phenomenal. But I always get fascinated about how comics came to actual fruition like this right now.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was like a huge Opie and Anthony fan.
Yeah.
And to me, like that was what we wanted to do, especially in LA. So I worked at Caroline's on Broadway for like a good hour, honestly. Yeah. Like it was a really short time. And so
just one day, 1 hour.
Oh, it was like insane.
Yeah.
They pulled it, like they wanted me to answer phones, and it was the day of phones. So you would have all these thank you for calling Caroline's on Broadway. This is Eric. Can you please hold? Thank you for calling it. And you would just do that, and you would like, okay, you would try to go back to the first caller. And then if the boss's wife would call, you had to screen that call. And so you'd be like, you know, on top of the phone, just ringing, and then like, oh, can you please hold 1 sec? Yeah, let me see where he is, and then you'd have to call the boss to see if he's still. And mind you, that fucking phone is still ringing. You're like, God damn it! Like
thousands of comics are calling their avails.
So like 3 times, I let his wife just fucking go through, and finally I was like, oh shit. And then they pulled some shit where like the guy came outside. He's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And it was the guy that was training me, and I noticed like they kept the window open. And they were like, yeah, if he's not fucking cutting the mustard, get his fucking ass out of here. You know how many times I've had to fucking call that nobody prepped me for this call. I told him, I don't want that fucking happen to me. If he's not cut. And I was like, wow. All right, this is pretty deliberate. Like,
yeah.
And then he came in, he's like, everything going okay? And I was just like, fuck, like just fire. Have the balls to fire me, you fucking cocksucker.
This isn't working out. But how do you train for that, you know?
Well, and that's kind of the thing of it. It's just like, well, fuck it then. So the only funny thing about it was I remember we were asking Paul Mooney, we were like, hey, can we watch your set tonight? And I remember he's like, what have you got to do, brother? And then he just like, he mosey on down. He was very, very like, mm-hmm. We met John Panette, Paul Mooney, like just some of these great, Rich Voss before it was like, and I remember like, oh my God, like this guy's incredible.
Yeah.
And just watching like comics like that. And then obviously when I ended up moving out to LA, I started an open mic. It was at a place called The Fourth Wall. And I remember the one thing we wanted to do by way of open mics was we wanted it so that if you bombed, people didn't give you that phony laugh.
Oh, wow.
And if you bombed, people were just like,
yeah. Yeah.
But there was something fucking hilarious about that.
Yeah.
That and I noticed other open mics just would not do that. They would not acknowledge a bomb. Yeah. And it would just be no energy. So like, oh, fuck this. So if you came to a mic and you did a shitty joke, then people would like,
got to give him the womp womp, right?
And I was like, oh my God. We had things where like, I think Willie Simon started this great comic, Willie Simon. He'd fucking pull out his keys and he would drop them. Like
Willie's hilarious.
Right in the depth of a punchline, and you would just hear keys drop, and everybody would start laughing. But that was how you bombed as a comic, was people let you know you were eating a dick.
Yeah, because crowds won't have any mercy on you.
No, they won't. And we wanted it to be harder. Like, because we started getting a reputation. I would host for free. Because he would pay people, and I go, I don't want any money, but don't tell me what to do. Just from 8, it was kind of a slotted system. So it was 8, 9, and then 10. We were done at 11, and we would get great comics. Like we would get Josh Potter would come in. He was a friend. We would get people like Rob, all kinds of people. Like Monterey would come in. It was so phenomenal, because if a comic just sucked,
let them know.
You were like, and you weren't like mean to them for that, because if they were funny, you would laugh.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Exactly. If they did a tag too many, you'd be like, you prick, you got greedy.
Right.
It was so much fun like that.
Which Fourth Wall was it at?
It was the original one, the North Hollywood one.
I used to live 1 block from there.
No kidding.
That was my 7-Eleven that I could walk to. Lived there for 9 years.
No shit.
And I never set foot in that place.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't know. My first couple of mics, I needed to go with the buddy system. And then, I'd already been doing photography at the clubs. So I was like, well, I'll just mic there at their, but then I was like, oh, here's a 6-hour wait for 3 minutes. Yeah. So the first 2 years of my comedy career was trying to figure out what the shortcut to comedy was. And you're laughing because the answer is that there fucking isn't one. So I wasted 2 years. But in that 2 years, I read probably 25 books on how to do stand-up.
Okay.
And I was waiting to take a class because Pandy had everything shut down. And then as soon as I was able to take a class at West Side, I caught a gig and I couldn't do it. So
I think it's harder for guys like you because you were filming like comics, right? And so you became friends with them, right?
Yeah.
It's so much harder for guys like you, guys like Lee Syatt, guys that are friends with people that went through it. If you feature, you open for those guys, you're expected to be fucking funny right then.
Yeah.
Right then. You have no room to bomb. And you have to bomb for a long fucking time. And I don't just mean like, they didn't laugh. You have to look at people like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right. Like, why aren't you laughing?
God, you're terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I'm crying. I don't fucking know why. No.
This eye waters all the time. People are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, just leaky tear duct.
I know. But that's the thing of it. So guys like you, it feels like you have to work extra fucking hard just to get that kind of like, all right, there's this false like expectation that you have like, okay, I know these guys, I am in the company of so much funny that I have to match that level.
Yeah.
And it's not not wanting to, it's just that you don't quite have the chops yet. So
yeah,
it's much harder for guys like you. Much harder.
Thank you, I think. But I haven't had to actually open for any mega hitters yet.
Okay.
And I learned that very early on, I learned it in the band days, that much like being in a band, being in a green room is all about the hang. So if you're going to if the photographer is going to open his mouth, it better be like, oh, take a little step to the left. That's where your good light is. Or you better just slide something in and then no one's going to laugh at that. But if one of the comics in the room picks it up and starts riffing on it, then you just got to pat yourself on the back.
Damn.
And go, yep, that was funny because he went with it. Like a writer. And then then you take it home and you kind of work on it a little bit because they're never going to remember that riff on the bus or in the green room or whatever. Yeah. But that's how I take my wins. Like if we're all just chilling and I'm like, oh, yeah, well, the queen died. And then they're like, oh, yeah, the fucking queen died. Then then the whole room goes on
like
it. Then
that.
you're like, yeah.
Like a ninja, like, just, okay, in, out.
Just a little.
I don't know how any comic can say this is the key to success. Yeah. Because it just, I think it was Bill Burr was laughing because people would shit on Bo Burnham. And they're like, yeah, he's not looking at it. And he's like, yeah, look at him now. It's just like that guy fucking gets asses in seats. Josh Potter told me that he goes, I respect anybody that can sell a ticket.
Right.
And it's just like, no shit.
I think the business of comedy is lost on a lot of people. A lot of people think funny equals tickets. Mm-hmm.
It's so far from the truth.
No.
And I hate it because among friends, I'm the comic that is terrible at posting content. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, fuck, like it's so... and I've worked hard to get funny at stand-up, and it's just like, and I'm proud of my act, but it's just like, son of a bitch, though. There's so many other little things, like, did you post today? Did you make something funny today? Did you do anything funny today on Instagram? Yeah, and it's just
TikTok. Or
exactly. See, and that's one market that I'm like, son of a bitch.
Well, clubs will mistake 100,000 or TikTok followers for a sold-out weekend, and that's just not necessarily the case. There's not enough analytics on TikTok to tell you who's following you in what region.
You're right.
So you have metrics on YouTube that'll go, oh, your people are all listening to you in Phoenix. So then you can go hit Phoenix and sell some tickets. A lot of people don't look at their analytics. You can get it on Instagram too. You can find out where people are watching you from, what their age demographics are. You can target your ads to those people. Shit. Yeah, it's a business.
I feel like I'm talking to Moneyball, like the analytical guy, like, oh, well, this is what I think.
I feel like the Godfather that's like not funny, but he's like, listen, funny guy, let me tell you how to run your business. I could do you a favor. I'll film you a couple clips. You're going to bring me on the road. It's going to ask you for favors and stuff. Yeah.
If I say no, there's a fucking dead horse head in my bed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and this podcast has turned into a little bit of like inside baseball as far as like the inner workings of the comedy world. But I'm so fascinated about getting every nugget I can from every person and putting it out in the world for other people to find out. That's the other thing I think we have that the guys that are 20, 30 years in didn't have. We have the top 150 million comedians in the world sharing their deepest, darkest secrets on a podcast every week for free.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
It's comedy college.
It is.
And they're like, well, definitely don't do this. If you're in Tampa, definitely don't do this and go here. And you're like, all right, write that down.
And I mean, too, it's free college when you think about that, especially how deep you dig in a podcast. Yeah, absolutely. Who do you like? Who's your number one right now that you're listening to?
Oh, that's tough. I have like
Yeah, it changes, but like I always go by who am I listening to right now.
Yeah, I love Pete Holmes' energy. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could maintain it because I'm not as happy as he is.
Yeah.
I'm not as spiritually grounded as he is.
That's such a nice way to put it.
Yeah. And then, like, for subdued comedy, I don't think anybody is less throttled back than Ian Edwards. I think he's so controlled.
God, he's good.
So some days I'm like, I'm just going to chill and put pauses in my comedy. And then some days I'm like Jim Carrey. I'm like Robin Williams. Jim. Like, let's fucking bounce all over the stage. I'm like, okay, do you want to do that when you're 60? Do you want to try and maintain that level of energy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the cerebral guys. There's Tim Dillon who can rant. Mm-hmm. And then I really like Jim Jeffries.
Oh, yeah.
But he's smart. So I don't have the smart thing.
I don't either. Yeah.
Bill Burr's always been a hero.
Yeah.
And then Louis C.K., you know. But as far as like people you should know that you might not yet, Amir K, I think is one of the funniest people working right now. Trevor Wallace is the youngest dude. I think is the funny guy around town.
He is. He's kicking some serious ass now.
Craig Conant, seriously funny guy. And then just going to some hard lemonades. I've seen a bunch of comics that I wouldn't normally be exposed to, like yourself.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Very funny.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
It's hard to shoot funny people because you're like,
your
shoulders are moving, so it's shaking the camera.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's funny because that hard lemonade, that was such a fun show to do too.
Yeah,
especially like with Monterey, she's one of the few people on a very short list of. She's like, you're going up tonight, and I was like, oh, okay, like yeah, that's.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know till that day because I told them, I was like, hey, I'll bring because I would go just to watch, and and they're always cool with that if the right comics are asking. So I was like, hey, is it cool if I come by and say hello and I just watch a show? Because I love Kurt Metzger too.
Yeah, I just had him on the show.
Yeah, I love Kurt.
Yeah,
fucking hilarious. So next thing you know, they're like, hey, you're on the show, and I was like, oh, okay. And legitimate, it's just like, okay. Well,
5 other comics in the corner like,
yeah, and I was like, I better stop fucking drinking. Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. Yeah, and then went up and had a great set, and then, Jeff Dye had a great... that show was like just a really fun. Yeah. So it was a challenge because it was like, oh, shit, like Jeff Dye has gone up, he crushed, and then, all of these comics were just kicking ass, and then it was me and then Metzger, and it was like, okay, well, fucking A, let's just...
Sometimes you just step up. You're like, hey, everybody's funny. I'm funny too. Let's fucking go.
I think that's the benefit of doing like shit shows. Like, and that people were telling, like, it takes you 15 years. Yeah. I think you do have to learn like what a shitty audience is.
Yeah.
So that when an audience is giving it to you a little too easy, and you're like, okay, like I can stretch some shit. I can do some different ideas. Like that stuff's kind of fun.
I've seen like celebrities, not celebrity comics, people that are famous through comedy. I've seen them get a couple extra wins because it's like, wow, that guy's here. It's like how many free laughs does Seinfeld get?
Well, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
Like, how many times can you say, what's the deal with, before it's like, what's the deal with butter you got? Okay, Jerry.
Well, yeah, and even like, I've heard stories that Chris Rock and Louis would throw a set. Like, they'd throw a shit joke in a set, which I would never even... I don't even think if I fucking was at that level I would do that, but where they throw in a shitty joke just to see exactly how much leeway they've been given.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, fuck, if they're gonna do that, like, more power to them.
If they're gonna laugh at the cats in the rowboat, I might as
Exactly.
well just fucking call this one in, because
Yeah. Well, fuck it. And it's, again, I'm so far from that. That idea is so foreign to me. But yeah, I mean, that's that show, because I remember meeting you at that show too.
Yeah. I had to say something, because I was like, man, that was one of the best sets of the night.
I appreciate that, dude. It's a lot of work, but I feel like just recently I'm starting to kind of catch my groove with it and just kind of figure out exactly, your voice and all that stupid shit. So
that's such a key, is like when you know how to say something, it's so much easier to write it.
It is. And you know what? Like the hardest part, and it's interesting because like you're a musician. I'm guessing you don't have a lot of stage fright.
No,
Exactly.
I'm also a public speaker professionally. So,
and it was the same thing for me, where I didn't feel like there was a lot of scary, like, oh shit, I got to get over nerves just because of theater,
Yeah.
So I did a lot of theater, but I think the difference for me too was it was learning how to write and exactly what joke structure was, because even today, like you'll watch certain comics and it's like, okay, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Like we were talking about, like studying exactly how you study, and I develop like weird ways. Like even how I write is just so different now than what I started doing. And
right.
You learn how. I feel like that's what you have to do. You learn how to write for yourself.
Yeah, and that's the process that I'm still in.
Yep, like you were talking about. I was like, that's why, like, if people are telling you that there's no fucking wrong way to write, I'm sorry, but there isn't.
Yeah, because when that's done and I clip it and I have 2 pieces of social media to drop on TikTok every day for the next 180 days, which by the time this comes out, hopefully that'll be done. Then that blows my TikTok up. Then I'm selling tickets. Then you better be funny then.
And I just and you might find, like, you know what? Once you take that to stage, you might find, you know what? I don't like this aspect of it, but I am going to keep this aspect of it. And so you bastardize your own system. Yeah. So that's why even Stanhope was like, if you try to teach somebody anything about comedy, all you will do is teach them how to be like you. Right. And it's just like, you're not going to fucking do anything.
Which is so true. I try and teach people how to be like me, and I don't have anything to teach. I'm so self-absorbed. I'm like, listen, here's what you need to do.
This is what it is.
But what I actually, to give myself a little credit, what I try and do is like provide value for people that have come on my show. So I'll take a look at your YouTube and see if there's a better way to like put SEO, search engine optimization, on it, or if there's a better way to tag it, or if there's a trick that I know that I can share with you. Great, you offered your time to me. I'm going to try and help you with your videography or whatever.
There you go, yeah.
So it's sharing. It's like Gary Vee says, give, ask, right?
Oh, I love that.
So I gave people free pictures for 4 years. And then I asked a couple people to come on my podcast, and they did. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going to cry.
I mean...
let's back up to the life story for a little bit. You grew up in a small town in Colorado.
Very small, 5,000 people.
Did you count all of them, or did you just set it on the sign?
It's the census, man. It's farm town, so they know how many people It's not hard. It's just like, I think we had ours done before anybody else. That's how fucking small it was for the census. It's just like, yeah, this is us.
The mailman was just
exactly. We're like, hey,
getting double duty.
How many Mexicans are in here? All right, yeah.
How many?
I know,
5,000.
There's only 2 fucking mattresses, for God's sake. People are fucking rabbits.
So you went to New York City for college.
I did. It was a conservatory. It was a theater conservatory for 2 years. Studied classical theater, of all things.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I love theater.
Shakespeare was my jam. Like that was, I absolutely loved it. But yeah, theater was great.
Any musical theater?
Not really. It was more straight theater, because it was, I don't know, I'm trying to think of exactly, like Martin McDonough was, like, people know him now from like 7 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, or like what is it, 7 Psychopaths. But like, he used to do like these dark plays. I think there was a little joke about him, like, if in a McDonough play 3 people died, it was a comedy. Right. But if 5 people died, it was a tragedy.
You got to kill 5 people.
Yeah. And just things like that. So yeah, theater in New York was a blast.
I've always been terrified of theater. I took theater in high school, but memorization. Boy, at the time, I had wicked bad ADD as a kid. Really? And I was in one play and I had one line. And I was paying attention to something else. And then I realized it got real quiet. And I was like, and then everybody was looking at me. And then I looked at the crowd and I was like, oh, it's my line, isn't it? That was my only play that I did.
All these fucking parents just say the line, you little prick.
Yeah, all you see is these blinking red dots out in the auditorium. You see 100 red lights on you.
As a parent watching a high school play, you've got to kind of secretly pray for that. Like, oh, please let one of these kids fucking eat shit.
Yeah, the one with the long hair, he's going to eat shit. Yeah, he's going to fuck this up. But it was a play called Voices from the High School. So everything was kind of non sequitur. It was like one random line. And me saying, it's my line, right? It could have been written in the script. So no, I mean, I got away with it.
Yeah, it's kind of genius.
Yeah, I've been very lucky my whole life. White privilege, I guess.
You stumbled into, oh God.
Yeah.
I will not agree with that. Even the Mexican side of me will not. White privilege.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't like to get controversial. So theater for 2 years, and then did you start stand-up while you were doing theater?
You know what? No, in New York, I really didn't do stand-up. I did like maybe one show, and I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. So
it's hard.
I was like, I was more in tune with theater at that time. I was like, fuck this. Like, why not just really try theater? And I realized then, like, okay, this is not going to pay anything.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fuck. Like, the
top level, right?
No, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, guys like fucking Mark Rylance, like guys that love theater, they were barely like, they had to have such a powerful thing to even get paid at that top level. So I remember walking down the street and I looked and I saw Usher, R&B Usher, and he was in Chicago, the fucking musical. And I was like, the fuck is he doing in Chicago? Norm from Cheers was in fucking Hairspray.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And they was like, for a limited engagement. And he's like, yeah, let's do 3 months where I want to play that big fat bitch and then I'll leave. And but it got asses in seats. Again, though, it goes back to that selling tickets.
The entertainment business.
And that's it. Yeah, that's it.
It always did kind of feel like people would go off and find like their television or movie paycheck and then go and my real love is theater, because you always hear about like Patrick Stewart or someone going back and doing Shakespeare and you're like, there can't be any money in it.
They still do that to this day, from Meryl Streep to Denzel Washington. Look at Pacino. Like Al Pacino would always go back to doing plays.
Yeah. And
it's just like, okay, yeah, absolutely. That's how you have to do it. There's the labor of love. That's why I said, like, as a musician, you're a performer. That's what you are. That's in you. You can't do anything about that. You're kind of fucked now.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, no, that you'll always want to perform. You
fucked in that sense.
Yeah, you want to do that. Like that's.
Yeah, I absolutely I feel more comfortable, even if I'm just visiting an artist friend, I feel more comfortable watching from the side of the stage than I do being in amongst a group of people.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can move around. You're not like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I walk these guys out and there's 3,000 people and the lights come up, I'm secretly like, wish they were here for me. But they will be one day.
Oh, I love that honesty.
Yeah.
I love that. Yep.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like walking funny with the camera or anything. I'm there to get the shot. But it's also nice to know what it feels like for 3,000 people to be clapping. Not necessarily for you, but the first time you walk out on a stage to do comedy in front of 3,000 people, you want to at least know what that's like.
Again, that's why, I love that. That never goes away, I don't think, especially for like musicians, because we had musical theater at that college. And I remember what was so funny about it, to use a really pretentious term, was artist colony, because I remember I wanted to learn just basic chords and keyboard and things like that, and guitar. And you had people that knew how to do that went to school just for that.
Right.
So you would tell them like, hey, I'll write your Shakespeare, analysis if you teach me how to play Let It Be on the piano. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's fucking easy. It's just a couple chords. And
easy
I'm like,
for you.
Yeah. I'm like, well, teach my fucking fingers, asshole. Like, and then, that was it. Spend maybe hour or two on a play that I knew. Mm-hmm. Just fucking, write
Which
it. There
might be hard for them.
Exactly. And because they hadn't read the fucking play.
Right.
I was like, that's actually a good play. You should
it's
read
like
that.
Creativity drug deals.
It is. It is. And you give me that. And so then you learn chords, and then you start to really put that together, and you're like, okay, so basic chord, diminished chords, things like that, and you start to fall in love with how music is put together and things of that nature too. Yeah. And you just make yourself a more valuable asset to the stage, because to me that's what it always was and right even into stand-up, where it's just like, all right, there's two kinds of comics I've always seen, like the good writers and then those fucking hardcore performers.
Yeah, and then every once in a while there's a guy who can do both.
Yep. And I think it takes time to get right in that sweet spot where you're right in the middle.
Yeah,
like
Burr, writing in your voice.
Yep, Burr is one of those guys that I'm
so
like,
good.
If you listen to his earlier stuff, he was such a tremendous writer too. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of evolved to where performance wise, he's firing on all four cylinders. You're like, God damn.
There's some rocket ships that just take off.
They do.
And it's like, well, he didn't need 25 years to get his first special. He wasn't competing against as many people. No. Like, everybody wants to be a comic now. I'm guilty of it as well.
Well,
but we'll see. You know what I mean? Like back in the 2000s to 2010s, there was a little bit of a lull in comedy. There was a little bit of he already had the network connections. He had done his first HBO special, and it was just like, stay at the top.
And two, even the Cellar wasn't what it was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fucking mean machines were going. It was just like, God damn, like Patrice O'Neill,
right.
You're sharpening metal with metal. It's just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
No wonder you got so good.
And then you look back, you want to say what happens in 20 years when we look back at who's performing in Los Angeles currently during the Pandy era comic. Is there going to be a podcast in 20 years of two people sitting around going can you fucking believe that Eric was there and Monterey was there and it's like,
yeah, you hope for that. You're like, oh fuck, I hope. But and it just goes back to what we were talking about, how are you getting better? How do you really figure out how to do this thing?
Yeah.
And that's before pandemic, I always used to say, if you really want to be a good comic, you have to do bar shows.
Wow.
And I don't know why, but bar shows just taught you, if you had I'm gay, so I had hecklers about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just okay, you got to learn to go too hard on them, and then everybody hates you in that room, and then you kind of back off, and then they think you're a pussy.
Yeah.
And so you
find that throttle
exactly where you're just like, shit. Okay, I gotta learn how to do this, and I gotta learn how to do that. And so it's funny because Uncle Bobby from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
I fucking walked him one time from a restaurant. I was doing stand up in this fucking restaurant. It was maybe 7 years ago. The poor bastard's just there trying to enjoy his clam chowder.
Yeah. You're like, what are you, the fucking Sopranos guy or something? Fuck out of here. He just throws his fork down. He's like, all right.
Spoiler, I'm glad you're dead, you cocksucker. And I remember, because I didn't even acknowledge him, but I remember thinking, every comic's fucking, I'm gonna make him fucking laugh. He's gonna be like, I really like you. You're really funny.
Yeah. Let me take you down to the set of Sopranos. Launch your fucking career.
Yeah, this is incredible. And I remember I fucking went in front of him, just come in hot, and the first joke just, and I was like, okay, so and you start getting that fucking sweat and that. And then you're like, next bit.
Yep.
And I remember I could hear his spoon hit the plate, and he just stood up and he walked away, and every comic in the back was like, and they could see it on my face.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that even that is so important to know, and I got it's funny, kind of a reputation at the fourth wall, where if comic is really just eating a dick, I cover, because I cannot stop laughing.
Yeah.
At just this is exactly the opposite of what you wanted it to do.
Yeah.
They were driving in the car and this is the joke that's gonna fucking it's gonna save it.
I had one of those on the way to Minnesota. I had a Dane Cook moment where I'm like, I'm just gonna say this one phrase. over and over until it's funny. And then I'll go off on a little thing here and a little thing there, but I'm going to do 10 minutes. I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it all on the line. What are we here to do, folks? We're going to leave it on the line. Where's the line? It's inside you. And I was just going to go. And on the plane, it was like, I am God's gift to comedy.
I figured, yeah, you're going to sell merch.
Yes.
It's going to be on a fucking hat.
All of it. We'll leave it on the line. I'm the leave it on the line guy. I'm going to cut my sleeves off. Get her done. Leave it on the line.
Oh, my God.
And boy, I got so nervous. And then I got off, and the headliner was like, hey, she wouldn't even look me in the face. She was like,
God.
Hey, so for the rest of the weekend, maybe you want to just do crowd work?
Oh, shit.
She's a dear friend of mine, so she said it politely, and I did, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Except when I asked this dude and his wife, stage, Rose, eating food. Oh, who is this lady to you? Oh, that's my wife. I'm like, well, where's your side chick? And she went,
oh, shit.
Excuse me? And then later after the show, they came up to me, and I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I was just trying to be funny. And they were like, no, we thought you were really funny. And I gave him a sticker. It was like, the whole set, I'm like, don't look over here. Don't look her in the eyes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what a fucking weird.
I have it on tape. I'm going to clip it.
Are you serious?
I was there to film her, so I had the camera
Please
running for me.
Send that to me.
Oh, well.
I want to see this, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have her reaction. I just have the one camera from the back of the room.
Can you feel yourself, too, like, not, like, willfully not going over there?
I could feel the words coming out. And, like, you know how you want to, like, is there a physical way that I could catch this from coming out of my mouth and just put it somewhere else? Yeah.
But that's so important, though, and it is. It's once you learn, like, things like that. I always used to tell people this, too. Attell is my all-time favorite. Like, he's just a beast. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy writes and is as funny as he consistently is.
Yeah.
But one thing, like I always told people to do, is watch any joke that he does, and then what you do is you pause it right before, because I think what a lot of comics do in the beginning, and this is like the first 2 years, is they don't know the difference between the premise and the punchline.
Yeah.
They always do that, where it's just like, you know, I can burn this joke because he's already done it. This is Attell's joke. I always tell people about that. He always said, you know, he goes, I got a lot of pot guys, and they always say, hey, Dave, you want to smoke some pot? And he goes, it's not that illegal. And then it's funny because I'll see people stop right there, and they're like, okay, yeah. And they think that attitude's what's going to get them through.
Yeah.
And then Dave, again, you pause and you go, okay, so what's your joke? And then whatever your shit you're going to write. And then you hit play, and Dave's like, if you're going to offer me something with that kind of whisper, give me something a little more illegal. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, shit. And then he goes, hey, Dave, you want to eat a bald eagle? And I mean, then you're in Punchline City.
Yeah, and then it's
my friend,
tag,
Luke
tag.
Allen would say. It's just like, yes, that's what you do. You fucking, that's what comedy. That's the joke. I don't think sometimes when they're starting off, people realize the punchline from the premise. Like, there's no joke there yet. Like, and I hate to say, I see it in a lot of gay comics where they're like, you know, I went to a gay bar. They were doing comedy. This is so bad, and they go, yeah, I found out Joe Rogan's like 5'3", and the guy goes, kind of explains a lot, doesn't it? And everybody in that fucking bar lit up, and I was like, oh no, this is not comedy. Like, what? And honestly, like, just from what I've seen, I don't think Joe Rogan would give a shit if you wrote a joke about him. No. But you better have a fucking joke. He wants a joke. Like, there's a difference between giving somebody shit and writing a joke about them. Yeah. And I remember I was sitting there, and they caught my eye, or I caught their eye rather, and they go, what? And I was like, nothing. And they go, oh, you didn't think that was funny? What, do you like Joe Rogan?
Oh, they're lighting you up.
And I go, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. It's just like, fuck you people. Now I've seen what you laugh at. I'm not worried about, I'm getting all emotional over.
You motherfuckers.
Right? I'm going to lose my whole WeHo fan base. And it's just like, I don't know. And I go, what are you mocking?
Right.
And they're like, well, maybe he has a Napoleon complex. And I go, write a joke. That is more than what you just fucking said.
Yeah, just making fun of his height.
Yeah. And the guy's like on stage, and I was like, what? And they go, oh, well, I'm sorry that I shattered your hero's little ego. And I go, you didn't shatter his ego. And I just went, how short was he?
Yeah.
And it's just, you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why.
And he's 5'5", by the way, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, what is your fucking joke?
Right. Because it's like, Joe Rogan is so short. How short?
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I know that's stupid. It's old like Rodney Dangerfield.
Take my wife.
I'm all right now, but last week I was in bad shape. And it's just like, at least he like had that but you can tell though people never watched like people today don't know who fucking Sam Kinison is sometimes, and you're just man. Even Rodney Dangerfield, like when he would get a role going on, like. It's just people don't seem to give a shit about that because it's turned into like, I'm going to express myself, and I'm like, please don't.
Right.
Oh God, like I don't want to know anything about you. Just give me a fucking joke.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Especially everybody can find their voice and everybody can find their crowd, and that person with that Joe Rogan joke got a laugh, and those people that laughed at that joke want to hear that kind of comedy, but then that's your opportunity to go up after them and go, oh, if you like that,
oh God,
you're gonna like real jokes.
Exactly. Really? Yeah. Oh, you got to try this. And you realize too, from like going other places, that's why I say like too, you've been to so many places, you can gauge not only as a photographer what you're doing, but as a musician, you can be like, they like this one more than they like this. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, you're building an arsenal that you have skill sets that you don't even know you have yet.
Can we continue this for like 3 hours? Can we just keep it coming? Keep it coming.
No, man. I like, it's funny because I've noticed this about like I said, the cool thing about like Josh and Joey that I've been so lucky to work with, those guys don't shit on people. No. They honestly, it's always about, oh God, so did you hear Norm Macdonald's joke about that? Or even Joey was like, oh dog, Rodney's got a joke about a Chinese laundromat. And I mean, but that's what those guys are like.
They're hyping other people up.
And that's what it's about.
And they're fans of the comedy. I hear so many like big time headliners are like, I don't watch comedy because I don't want it to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, well, you're missing out on the greatest joy of life. Like, don't get me wrong, watching a special at home by yourself, you're like, you don't laugh like you would if there's literally any other human in the room or watching it live. Yeah. But like, I want to see that. I want to see what you took 2 years, 3 years to cook up. And I want to compare it to my shit that I wrote this morning. And
it's like you said, though, like, especially cooking up. Like, today, God, I feel so bad. I keep quoting Attell shit on here. He had a joke from years ago, and he was talking about cheerleaders. And he was saying, he goes, guy, and it's just so out of the fucking blue. Yeah. And he said, this is an old joke, so again, it's Attell's. But what was so funny was he goes, guys, I was watching these cheerleaders. And he goes, and they threw a girl up 7 feet in the air and they caught her. And he goes, He goes, that's called cheerleading. And he goes, yeah, but if you kick her out of a moving car if you kick her out of a moving car, it's called a felony. I mean, it was it just hit me, and I was laughing, and I was like,
because that's not where you think Dave's gonna go.
And that's just it, though. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing, how hard it is to, and that's an old fucking joke from a long time ago that I heard, and it was just so like, I didn't see where that was coming. I didn't know where that was gonna go, and that's the kind of shit that people love and that you're a fan of.
Yeah, I think the king of that is Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah. And boom, 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 boom.
For an hour, like he does setup punch for an hour, and it's always a hard left turn. And you're like, by 30 minutes in, you're like, I'm gonna get this next one. I know where he's gonna go, and not a single fucking time. He's got 3 specials out, and that's at least 180 jokes, if not 210, 220, and I haven't gotten a single one.
See though, and that's what I mean though. By that notion, every time like he tells a joke, you're at least listening because you're like, okay, how did you craft it? Norman's the same way. Like for me, I love the Mark Normans, the Sam Rose, fuck, that was good.
I've been practicing.
That was creepy.
Do I have a good...
That was great.
Cavity.
No.
Yeah. It's just the old radio announcer voice, I think. Well, tell him I have a great Norman.
Fuck. So, yeah, like him, Joe... But, again, though, it's like we were talking about. I think that especially... and again, I will say I see that happen more with newer gay comics because it feels like more I'm gonna express myself, and I'm always like I love gay comedy. I do because it's just like I feel like, oh good, I connect with somebody because there's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
So it's just like, please give me something like solid. And if it just sometimes it misses the mark, and that's consistently where I see it miss.
Is there a different standard that you hold gay comics to than straight comics?
Yeah, it's not fair, but it's just like, yeah, if it's kind of like I'm saying like, oh, okay, well, I'm working. What is that stand up? I'm working this side of the street. What side are you working? So I kind of feel that way sometimes, where I'm like, all right, let me see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, fuck yeah. But in the same breath, too, it's not that, I'm made a stoner. I'm like, oh, I don't like, because I am friends with a lot of gay comics. But it's just like, okay, how good are you? Yeah. Because, we're talking about similar shit sometimes. Right. So it's like, okay, where are they coming from?
But is a new comic a new comic?
Yeah, I mean, with the new comic, I feel like they get a little more leeway. Mm-hmm. And honestly, though, like I always love like saying, "Hey, man, that was great. Yeah. That's awesome. Keep coming back. Keep coming back." Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, they're like, "Thanks, man, thanks." And then when they get too cocky, like, "Oh, that was shit. Yeah, keep coming back.
Yeah, better luck next week."
Yeah, and that's it though. Like you should be like able to bomb in front of somebody. Yeah. Because the thing of it is too is if it's a new comic or if it's a gay comic, here's the thing, like I'm gonna fuck with them too, and I'm gonna fucking bomb in front of them because I'm gonna try something new. Mm-hmm. Because I can't be afraid to bomb in front of any comic. Yeah. Because that's what I'm there to do.
Yeah. That's the scariest part of the whole gig. Yeah. It's like no matter how good you get at it, you have to constantly create new shit. Yep. And then you have to go try it in front of people. And the first time you say it, even though you may have had a legendary special out and you can sell a ton of tickets, you go work it out in LA, maybe it doesn't go great.
And you can't be afraid of that though. Like that's why, like I said, those bar shows, even like you see really good jokes, just they don't land. And so you get that feeling of like, okay, like I know how to curb my enthusiasm. I know how to really curb my energy, and I know what I need to punch and what I don't. Mm-hmm. I see that even today. Like, I don't want to get too specific because it just happened where somebody was like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna do this," and then they went out and it wasn't there.
Oh, they got all hyped up in the green room?
And then once the energy was gone, like, because all it takes is one joke not to land, and that fucking energy flies out like a sneeze. It's just like... Yeah. Right. So, and then they go right into the act, and you're like, hey, where's that killer attitude that we saw just a second ago? Yeah. But again, though, like, the funniest shit is, like, what I always laughed about was in Joey Diaz's green room. Mm-hmm. Is we would be sitting there, and in my head I was always like, I wonder what people think his green rooms are like.
Oh, can I guess?
Go ahead.
It seems like there's prepackaged marijuana pre-rolls and flour everywhere, and then there's an assortment of what looks like gummy bears and gummies, but they're really like 700 milligram, THC, no CBD, Death Stars.
So he's eased up on the gummies now because
that's what I heard.
Yeah, he would tell me how many points he had. He'd be like, and he'd be chewing like nicotine gum or something. He'd say, "Gotta eat that chicken breast. That's only 4 points." And like I wouldn't know what the point system was. I'm like, I don't know what the
out of 1,000.
He's like, if you're hungry, that's a good thing to eat. And then he goes, "You gotta try that cocksucker. It's pretty good." Like, so his green room, you would walk in, and it was like a fucking church. I'm not kidding you. It was so quiet. Wow. Like he wouldn't even turn the TV on in the green room.
Really?
No. we would just sit there and I mean, it was just like, okay, shit. Or if we turn the TV on, he'd have it on mute.
Well, Zeppelin's probably playing live in his brain.
Well,
you can't be that high. You don't want a distraction, right? He's watching the best concert of his lifetime, just drooling down his shirt.
He was brilliant. And like I realized, like, for the kind of energy that he was going to go out there and have, and then right towards his set, he'd look at me. He's like, "So what's up with that one guy that you hooked up with the other night?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he didn't call me back." And he goes, "We moved on, didn't he?" And and he goes, "That's what I like about you guys. You fuck, I'm done with." And you could see him
working up,
starting to do it. And it's just like, okay, he's starting to come up. Josh Potter, we did Brea one time, and I remember he had the sports game on, and we had beers.
The Bills.
Everything was he was so calm, and he was just like, "Can you believe this?" And I mean, nobody's like shouting, no, but it was such a chill, relaxed like vibe.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, yeah. And then he goes out on stage and he just fucking crushes. And it's just like the relaxation and just how those guys have learned to really just harness their energy. That is fascinating to me, because I'm like, fuck, I love the ins and outs of this shit. Like,
I've got one guy that I work for that likes to be alone. Because in theaters everybody gets their own room. I get my own room. I feel fancy.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
There's theaters. There's 45 rooms. There's 5 of us, and I don't want anybody messing with my cameras.
That's incredible. Yeah,
so he'll just go in and he'll be in his room, and then after, because he takes 3 openers, about 5 minutes left on the 3rd opener, I'll go wait outside his room, and then when he pops out, I'm with him, and I'm filming him all the way down the hallway, and then we go back behind the curtain, and you can hear the comic still working, and he does ninja kicks and spin kicks and somersaults.
That's awesome.
And he jumps up in the air and he's like performing for the camera. I got a light on him and he's just getting himself amped. Oh, I shouldn't impersonate his voice. But meanwhile, this other guy that I work with. I was going
to say, you're too good at that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
You're going to fuck yourself over.
Yeah, he's not going to watch this. And then the other guy I work with he has one opener that does 25 minutes. And he stands and says to one of his associates, "This is what I'd like to eat after the show." And that guy goes and arranges that, and then, "Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. So-and-so," and he comes out and he's like, "All right." And he'll even ask, like, what's in his contract. He's like, "How long do I have to do tonight?" It's like, contractually you can't do any less than 47. He's like, "Watch this." Does the minimum.
That is incredible.
Unless the crowd's good. If the crowd's good, he'll just keep feeding them crowd work and working them. And it's just,
that's hilarious, man. It is. It's just so much fun. Like that shit like that, learning the dynamics, not like the little bullshit like so and so. Do you see so and so got booked in it? It's just like, fuck that.
You got to fly above all that shit. Like, that's all local LA shit. There is a whole world out there. I've wanted to know this a million times, and I wish I had a producer, and I will in the next studio. But I want to know how many comedy clubs exist in North America. Just in the United States.
That'd be fun, yeah.
I would say if there's 5 in every state, now we're looking at 250 clubs. Can you name 250 headliners that have an hour?
That's a very good point.
Right. So, I mean, there's people that there's other markets. I think Nashville's got a pretty great scene with a lot of people coming up in Nashville. So there's New York, Nashville, Miami, Austin, right?
Oh, yeah. Man.
Chicago. We're cooking up comics all over the place. Just because you don't live in our little bubble.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you can't be a national headliner. I mean, Nate Bargatze is one of the biggest comics in the world. He lives in Nashville.
I know.
That's kind of the goal, is to like get it
and then
get out and go where you can really like have a life.
It's I think that's fascinating too, because it's so weird. I like the city, like, and I don't like all the bullshit with the city, because like shit, I'm very proud to own guns, but it's just like, not to be political, but it's just like, I'm probably more conservative than like most people would like that are probably gay, but it's just like, I love a city though. I love city life. I like going where there is all kinds of people, because then you can hit like so many spots.
You were gonna say people.
I know.
There's way more people.
With my fucking gun
there's more people to shoot in a city.
In my Hilton rented hotel.
We didn't have anybody to shoot when I was growing up. There was only 5,000 of us. Oh, I can walk down the streets of West Hollywood, just pop,
Just pop, 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 pop.
You may know me from the Citizen app.
I was going to say.
I'm famous on TikTok,
Really?
Instagram, Citizen.
Catch my live stream.
Yeah.
It's on the Citizen app.
Yeah. Playing live action shooters on the corner of La Brea and Beverly later. Oh, man. Surprising you haven't been arrested yet for shooting all those people.
Well, again, I got all that lube. My hands are greasy. It's hard to keep.
Can't even hold the gun.
I say, keep cuffs on me.
Hope it's a shotgun. It's a two-hander. Eric, we've gotten to the point in the show where it's time for the lightning round.
All right.
And I've promised the fans that I would come up with a new name for it because there's nothing fast about this whatsoever. Okay. It's more like the end of the show, 7 questions I ask everybody else. But that's too long of a title.
Okay.
So...
I think we've already lost everybody from the shooting shit.
Yeah. Oh, no. The North Carolina fans they're loving it. They're like, how many did he shoot?
Finally, a queer that can shoot. Good.
God damn it, freedom ain't free. Is it really 7? I just say it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8.
Okay.
What is your favorite venue or club to perform comedy?
I love the Ice House, the main room of the Ice House
In Burbank?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was back when Joey and it would be Lee Saya opening.
Yeah.
I would feature and Joey would do it. That was like the dream. Like the low. It was just a beautiful room to fucking do comedy.
Never even stepped foot in that place.
Oh, I loved it. Like that was a special fucking place to do comedy.
Yeah. Weirdest place you have done stand-up comedy? I'm gonna cut that last thing out, by the way. That was mean.
I liked it.
I'll leave that part in. Then leave them wondering what I cut out.
I can't believe you fucking said that.
You won't believe what.
Holy shit.
Tune in next week to find out what Eric said.
Jesus.
These are great.
Your eyes went red.
Yeah. And then I said, motherfucker, I got a gun.
This is the sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Please don't say that anymore.
Not on a school bus.
I'll leave, God damn it.
Well, you can get out of here then. Sometimes I have to move stuff around. I had a guest that said fuck you in a story, and I put it after I asked him a question.
We should just all kinds of clickbait shit like that.
Just like a daily, like one of those daily soap operas where it's like, well, fine, I'm gay now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I needed some more improv of that. That was all I could give you. Oh, really?
Yes,
You
really.
Oh, God. Yeah, anyways.
This is the last episode of the Isaac Abrams Show.
Okay. Weirdest place I've ever done comedy. Some sort of restaurant where they were eating, but a lot of people didn't speak English. Like for some reason, like a bus of European, like just tourists were there. And I'm trying to do like blowjob jokes and I'm like,
You're silent.
yeah, I'm like, do you know what a
right.
Yeah.
And then the guy from The Sopranos leaves.
Yeah. No, not a baguette. Like
with an F. Sopranos sucked anyway.
Fuck you. That last season was a fucking snooze.
Oh, and that fucking finale, are you kidding me?
Ooh, you're so meta. Get the fuck out.
Cuts of black is all you
hungry.
got?
I'm eating his chowder. Oh, right. Thank God.
Just winding his pasta up. See you later.
Really, you fat fuck.
You gonna eat that bread?
Oh, good. He didn't finish his cigarette.
You're like, you have a microphone in your hand right now, right? Okay. On a more serious note.
I know, God damn it.
What is the weirdest thing you did or saw as a kid? We're looking for like a Stand By Me moment or seeing a clown in the woods or like saw a dead body on the train tracks.
Okay, I got one.
Oh, good. Okay. Most people have to think about this.
No. This shit. So I worked at a nursing home.
Okay, this is going to be good already.
And so somebody died and... No, stay with me. No, they died, and the interesting thing is when you die, I could never do this on stage. I could never get it to a point was fucking funny.
Well,
and it was just like, I don't know the turn. So anyways, this person died, and when you die, you still have air left in you.
Yep.
So what happens is it expels through different, like when you move a body, you'll start to smell gases and things like that. So this person died with so much air in them. It was myself, this little nurse that had been doing it for like 30 years, and nothing fazed this woman. She was a kick-ass nurse. And this poor trainee nurse that she was brand new, maybe her first week.
Oh boy.
And so what ended up happening was we were trying to wrap the body, so it was just kind of easier. So, and I think the coroner might have been, but it was a big person. And so when we pushed over the body to slide the sheet, we pushed it, and I remember I was pushing right under the ribs, like right where the lungs. And I remember when I pushed the body, so much air expelled that it must have hit vocal cords.
No.
Because I'm not...
No.
I'm not kidding. It was like... and when you... you heard a little...
I'm still alive.
And the poor new nurse was like... Oh my God, she's not dead. And we're like, and the nurse let go of this big fucking, and I was like, don't, I need help. Yeah, I need help because this, and she's like, no, sweetie, she's dead. She's dead. And I was like, oh my God, because then the stink just hit you. And when you close somebody dead's eyes, you've got to make sure that they stay closed. And I hadn't done a good job, and one eye was open, and I was like, somebody fucking help me with this person. So dead people have never really scared me because working in that fucking thing. But that was probably one, and that nurse quit. The rookie, she didn't want, and it wasn't that she wasn't a nurse anymore. She just didn't want to do it for seniors ever again.
Oh, right.
It was just holy shit. And it wasn't it wasn't anything like that. It was you could hear air.
Eric. It's wink.
Eric. With a milky winky eye.
I think this bitch likes me.
You'll float too. Or
come with me, Eric. Wow. First dead body I ever saw was my grandfather.
Oh, really?
We were going to the hospital to identify the body. And we come around the corner, and he's not in the refrigerator. He's in the hallway.
Oh, no.
If this is the thing, his head's hanging off the end.
Oh, my God.
We come around the corner, and I'm like, Grandpa's taking a nap. I was 12 years old, and my mom grabbed my eyes and spun me around. She almost spun my head off my shoulders.
That's brutal.
Yeah, she's like, you go wait in the car. This is back in the 80s when you can go wait in the car. Yeah. Nobody was worried about you waiting in the car.
I was going to say.
You don't need no notes or anything. People saw children in cars. They were like, that's a good boy right there.
Well, they must have seen their dead grandpa.
Yeah. Damn it.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, that would have. And I mean, did you see just enough?
Mouth was open. Eyes were looking back. And you know what? That's the way that I remember it.
Sorry, that's so funny. There's Grandpa.
There's Grandpa.
Fuck. All right, we got to buy him something nice.
I couldn't have been 12 because I stole cigarettes from him when I was 16.
Oh, shit. After that day, your parents probably gave them to you.
I got to sort this timeline out in my head because he died when I was 12, but I stole cigarettes from him when I was 16.
Well,
you know how your memory's all fucked up? But you just can't get details like that wrong in a set because people are like, hey, you said he was dead when you were 12.
Ugh, fuck you.
Yeah, it's my set. Fuck off. He dies when I say he dies. Motherfucker. Have you ever seen a UFO or a ghost?
No.
Okay.
I've never.
Have you ever experienced a natural disaster?
Oh, yeah. The pandemic was pretty terrifying.
Okay, yeah, that counts.
I think the only
Count
reason
it.
I think the only reason is because we had so many people in healthcare that were just quitting, and it got to a point where this is where like nobody really knew what COVID was. There was no vaccine.
Yeah.
We didn't know how long it was going to last. There were a point where are we going to have to call the fucking National Guard because like it wasn't for like where I work. It was just in California in general because it's just like it seems like nobody wants to fucking work in medicine right now.
Yeah, we can't find teachers and nurses.
And that's it. And it was just like, what the fuck are we going to do?
I solved the problem with all of that and school shootings in one. And this is my theory. If you want to be in the military so bad that you want to see action, when you get out of basic training, you got to go be a teacher for 2 years or be a nurse for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you got to bring your gun. Go shoot up a school that's got 35 highly trained military operators watching the schools. Because real teachers don't want to handle guns.
No.
But
guys that want to see action will gladly.
Yeah, that solves it all. I mean, we're not getting the best and brightest out there in the grunt force.
I don't. Well, and it's interesting though, like especially with grunt force. I don't know. It's hard though because especially like when like I do shows for like Camp Pendleton and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And when you meet those like they're kids.
Yeah, they are.
It's just like, so what brought you here, man? Yeah. And there's still like a lot of patriotism.
Tons.
Where I'm like, okay, like
there's a lot of military bases in North Carolina where I'm from.
Oh fuck yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. So I like that though.
I would really love to perform for the troops, man.
Oh,
that would be so cool.
And you know what's so fun? Like that's probably the greatest audience, like one of the great audiences that I have, is because it's just like you can say anything.
Yeah,
you can say absolutely anything. And the other thing too is like they are in conditions where you're like, I'm sorry you have to sit on the ground, and they're like, oh no, this is a blast.
Yeah, we're sitting down.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
sitting down's a treat.
You forget that they train them to be like, you know, no, this is what you will do, this is what you will be, and you're just like, fuck, man, like they're like 22-year-old kids
to the point where they're like, this is the hour that you're allowed to laugh.
Yeah,
laugh at these motherfuckers or don't laugh for the rest of the day.
That's it. And it's just like, holy shit. And they're smart motherfuckers. I went and did a show one time with Brian Simpson, Mike D'Angelo, Monterey Martinez, and there were so many good comics on this show, and I was laughing because Brian was telling me, he was just looking at shit, and he was like, see, what we used to do in Iraq was we would have, or wherever he was, because he you know, he was a Marine, and he said what they had was they would collect water and they would put it up high so that it would heat, and then they would poke holes in it, and they had some kind of system that when they pulled on something, water would come down, and that was their shower.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck. And he goes, they know how to fucking do that shit.
They turn into, it's like military and prison. They turn into engineers.
No shit. That's it. Exactly.
You get enough time to focus on something, one single problem.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to get the bars off of this window? You got 30 years to figure it out.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, 3 more.
All right.
What is your favorite vacation destination?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't really like vacations.
That is the most common answer.
Isn't really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For comics. And then they have 2. I usually spend my vacation time going home to see my family, or I want to go here, but I've never been there before.
That seems like I would. It's such a terrible. Like you said something interesting. Like when you were like, I can't sleep. You're like, how long have you had it?
I mean, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
20, 25 years.
I don't feel like I should be doing anything else if I'm not like progressing the career forward. Yeah. And it's just like, fuck, okay, no, like, what have I done to deserve Hawaii? Like, what the fuck am I going to do in Hawaii?
Well, can I counterpoint that?
Go ahead, yeah.
There could be 4 days in Hawaii could give you 30 new minutes.
And that
life experience
absolutely could be it. Yeah. I just don't know what I would do with my time there. Like, am I just going to sit on a beach and cook, or like, what am I going to do there?
Well, everybody likes, my follow-up question will kind of lead into this, but like, I am a sit on the beach and have them bring drinks to me until it's time to go eat dinner and then go to the casino kind of thing.
Okay.
On a tropical island. Like, that's my vacation.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm going to lead into it. So anyway, I like to go to Vegas a lot. It's calming for me to be in a casino with 1,000 slot machines making noise.
See, like, yeah.
It's peaceful because I can't track everything. If I'm in a restaurant with 20 people, I can listen to every single conversation.
Yeah. See, I think that would be better, honestly, than like just being in a shit ton of people. Like, even like the most sound asleep I ever got was when I lived in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just because like I could hear cars honking and shit like that, and I was just like, okay, yeah, there's something happening, and I'm not having to do anything. Like, it's just like, okay, something else is taking over, and I don't need to be in charge of it. It's just like, fuck.
So when you go home to Colorado, is it just impossible to sleep? It's just crickets?
I can't stand going to Colorado.
Really?
I can't fucking stand. If I'm in Colorado and I'm seeing family, I don't want to be there longer than a day. Like, wow. It's funny because I just had a surprise birthday for my mom and her sister, and I got a fucking anxiety attack because we had it on a Sunday, and then I stayed Monday. I wouldn't leave until Tuesday, and that Monday I was like literally jumping, and I go, "Give me the keys to the car. I can't fucking do this." And my mom was like, "What the fuck is the matter with you?" I was like, "I can't. Just give me the keys." And I went to a fucking Walmart, and I just walked around Walmart.
Yeah.
It was that bad, and I've never, ever had that. Like, so that's why when you said, like, I have to have something, like, going, and yeah, dude, I totally feel that way. Because I could not rest there. And you would think, like, oh, well, go see some family. And it's just like,
come to Colorado, have a few laughs. I can't believe you got that one.
It's like Cowtown. Yeah, my grandpa's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
The Russians come in.
Yeah, doesn't he fuck it up, dude?
You've got 30 minutes to get all of your cows back.
I jump off a building, and my grandpa's like, I hope that's not one of our guys.
You're like, we've got guns too, motherfucker. Eric saves Colorado.
I know.
This summer. All right, so that leading question was, do you like Las Vegas?
I do.
Oh, I'm a big Vegas guy.
I like Vegas.
Boy, oh boy. I was a once-a-month kind of guy for a while.
Really?
Yeah. I just fell in love with like the nostalgia of like the 60s and the Rat Pack and Elvis and all that stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I want to go in there like a high roller. I want them to say, welcome, Mr. Hecker, or Mr. Abrams. Shit.
Well, we're cutting all kinds of shit out here.
Well, I'm the editor. I'm lazy. This show's editor fucking sucks, dude.
He sucks, but he's fucking hot.
Oh, yeah. I'd fuck him. I'd at least give him a hand job twice a week.
One of them good eye.
Yeah. I look in the mirror. What's that movie where he's like looks in the mirror when he's fucking himself? The business one.
It was American Psycho. Where I love when he goes, "This is her asshole. Don't just look at it, Carol. Eat it."
He's in the new Thor movie.
Is he really?
He's the bad guy in the new Thor movie.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
You can't tell. He's got like tons of paint on him. Where do you stay when you go to Vegas?
I honestly just on the Strip. Like, I'm not a big, I go all the time. I like it when I'm there. And if somebody's like, we should go to Vegas, then I'm like, you know what? That would be a more relaxing time than Hawaii, than Martha's Vineyard, or wherever the fuck you want to. It's just like, no, give me people.
There's always something to do, and
that's
always people.
Maybe
no matter
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Fuck, maybe you're helping me through all of this.
Yeah,
it feels like therapy.
Well, that's why I have the desk. So how does that make you feel?
I just look. Are you jerking off under there?
Don't worry about what's happening under the desk.
Pay no attention to that cock behind the table.
No, you just got me so worked up that I just had to release one real quick. Okay, this is the final boss, the hardest question of them all.
All right, here we go.
No pressure. And I ask this to everyone. What is the best meal you've ever had in your whole life?
Best meal I've ever had in my whole life. My grandma, she was making people will probably hate it. It's called menudo. It's
soup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember I was in in New York at the time, and I was coming home, and she was like, "I'm gonna make menudo for you." And the way she would do it took like a fucking
a year and a half.
Yeah, she's in a big old fucking witch pot where she just stirred that shit.
I will see you in 18 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am okay. Good. I need to know. So
I have to journey up a mountain to find the beans. Grandma, when did you start talking like the movie guy?
Grandma McKellen.
I must craft the bowl from clay by myself.
One does not simply walk into the grocery store.
No, she's Steven Seagal now. I must karate chop someone in their face.
I gotta go get shit for my gay grandson's menudo, and then I gotta drop this ring into a fucking vat of lava.
Just got caught up on the Lord of the Rings on Amazon yesterday.
The fucking spider wrapped me. I had to whittle my. Anyways, so yeah, it was her. It was her home cooking, and it was just like, it sucks because like I try to make that shit, and obviously,
good luck.
Her little fucking Mexican hand knows exactly the measurement. So, yeah, it was her.
It's a sprinkle of this and a dash of that.
Go fucking. Yeah.
And when we cook, it's like a baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
How many onions? All the onions?
Yeah, the hoof. The hoof.
Yeah. Salt truck. Beep, beep, beep. Eric Rocha.
Got it again.
Comedy.com. Eric Rocha Comedy.com. Turn it into a techno song. It's like Eric Rocha Comedy.com. For tickets and his social media, Eric, thank you for being here.
I had a blast, man. Thank you so much.
Too,
I hope this was fun. I hope it wasn't a lull.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is the worst podcast I've done today. Done 4 today.
That's why I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. No, this was great. We had a good laugh. This is going to clip really great. I can't wait to mess with all those sound bites that you gave me and see what order I can put them in. Get you in trouble. Maybe get you canceled.
There we go.
One less comic to worry about.
Yeah. The one we didn't know about. The one we needed.
By the time this comes out, you could be very famous.
Yes.
This could be up to 4 months from now.
Fuck yes.
And I think you will be. I look forward to working together.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, you're very funny.
You snuck that in there. That was cute of you.
I'll cut it out.
I'm going to be under that desk next episode.
Where's Eric?
It'll be like at Police Academy. There's a fucking reference out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. We'll fuck.
Way to stumble the ending, Eric. You piece of shit.
Cocksucker motherfucker.
That's it. God, what a terrible ending.
Yeah, no, that's a great ending. It's great. Go out and see Eric live wherever you can. Do yourself a favor. Treat yourself. Take yourself out to a night out. And we'll see you next time on the Isaac Abrams Show.